is that in the core of our planet, apparently there's a crystal core. Although some people get into hollow earth, and there's all sorts of, and who actually knows? But what I believe, or what I feel, is that there is a contract for our planet. That this Earth has a contract. It has a job, just like each one of us have a job, have a purpose for being here. And I believe that the Earth's purpose, or the Earth's contract, is abundance for all beings. And that this is the dreaming for this planet. And that because each one of us is connected to this planet as part of her, that we have that the collective dreaming, the collective unconscious dreaming, and for some people it's more conscious than other people, is this dreaming of abundance for all beings. So if that be true, then we've kind of got a little bit out of whack on the planet, right? Because right now we have a system where we have the haves and the accumulation of wealth from a place of fear of not enough, which means that we have a vast array of have-nots, where people are not even getting, water or food each day. So that's a real, thing for all of us, probably, when we go into the unconscious and when we don't get overwhelmed by the enormity of that, because that's enormous, and what each one of us does seems to have so little impact on that enormity. And yet we have to start, right? We have to, and I believe that each one of us in the unconscious realms, we do get caught up in not enough. We do get caught up in that collective mind frame, or that collective conditioning of not enough. And I don't want to be one of those that don't have anything, right? So there is a programming, a program around that that can run us. And when we get run by that, then we're running, and then we start doing things we don't like doing, and getting jobs we don't like doing because we're afraid that there won't be enough, and that we won't be able to pay our bills, and all the whole phenomenon of what the society has created. So, with all of that in mind, I'm pretty sure, there's experiments happening on the planet, and I don't know if any of you have watched the movie about gifting culture or gifting economy. There's videos online on YouTube around gifting economy. And so a guy has written a whole book about gifting economy. And it's based on indigenous cultures. So in indigenous cultures, what happens is, so there'll be a group of people, and they will all bring, and this has happened throughout time in people close to the earth, in indigenous cultures, where it hasn't been about money. And what happens, so they all gather, and they all bring, it's a bit like a potluck, right? You all bring your food in and you share. But what happens is that, so people bring in what they have extra of, and one person, like say in India they do this now, the women, and they've done it forever. They bring what they have, and one person will go home with all of that. Yeah? And then they'll be able to, feed their kids, or this or that, or whatever it is, whatever those resources are. And then the next month or week or whatever, they come in, and then another person goes home with all of that. And then slowly everybody gets a turn to have a bigger amount for that time in order to sustain their families, right? So it's kind of an awesome system, because it's about sharing, it's about caring, it's about the knowing that The more you give, the better we live, all. So there's a whole lot of different concepts around that. More recently, with the advance of the internet, there is gifting culture gone into the internet. And I've been experimenting with it. And it has received a lot of flack from the powers that be, from the media. As with anything that leads to lasting change, it has a lot of resistance in the beginning. Yeah? So I'm here to share my experience around gifting culture because I've had a lot of experience with it over the last 7 years. And I have, maybe I'm a bit of I try to look for the positive lining of things, and I want to experiment. I want to experiment with different ways of doing money on our planet because I can't stand to do a 40-hour-a-week job and sell my soul. It's not what I'm going to do with my life. I have choice, and I'm going to choose to live a beautiful life and not worry if I don't have enough. Because I always have enough. It's written into this being. And if I don't go with thought forms of lack, then I will always have everything I need. And this is my truth. And I don't work a 40-hour week, and I don't sell my soul. I do exactly what I want to do, and somehow the universe arranges for me to have everything I need. So I'm here to challenge the concept of not enough. I'm here to challenge those thought forms that keep us imprisoned, that say there is not enough to go around and you have to work hard for your money. Okay, these are slavery thought forms. And so I'm here to challenge those thought forms. It's okay if you enjoy. It's okay to live a charmed life. In fact, that's what we're here for. But there's keys and there's places where we have to take risk in order to gain that. And we have to risk stepping outside of the little box that says that, there is lack and there is not enough. And so what I want to do is follow the guidance of the harmonic matrix and look to, there's 13, the number 13, and there's the number 20. So the number 13 represents 13 major joints in our body, which is 2 ankles, 2 knees, 2 hips. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 major joints. And there's 20 fingers and toes. 13 times 20 is 260 days from conception to birth. So it's a natural order, it makes sense, it is reflected in our physical body, although what it measures is, it's not measuring planetary bodies, it's measuring pulses of light that emit from a center of light, like your own heart center, like the sun, like the greater sun, like whatever. Pulses of light that emit pulses of vibration, pulses of consciousness. And so it measures that. I've been following it every day for 23 years. And it's pretty profound. Each day, each person becomes my magnifying glass to test if it has validity or not. So far, you just have to take my word for it. It has incredible validity to how we live on this planet, and I see it reflected in every day. So what I want to do today is look at this cycle here, blue night. Blue night is day and night, is the dreaming, the dream time, what the Aboriginal people call the dream time. What is the contracts that lie in the unconscious? What is the dreaming that we are all here for? And it's not only the dreaming, but it also talks about abundance. And so the number 1 is the attraction. The magnetic, it's called magnetic, it attracts the energy of abundance. So that's why I want to follow these 13 days and follow the order of abundance. Because there's universal truths here that reveal what it is to attract abundance. So if I can give you those keys, there might be those of you in here that are born within that cycle, which is why you're here. Although usually if people are born in this cycle, they're abundantly living their lives. And they probably wouldn't need to come to explore about money unless they come to share their wisdom about it. But so that's what we're going to do. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
You interested to do that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So first of all is always magnetism. The first three, so there's 4 planes through which we experience. The spiritual plane, the physical plane, the emotional plane, and the mental plane. And so I'll explain those to you. Number 1 is called magnetic. So it attracts the consciousness that sets the purpose for the cycle. Magnetic. Lunar goes from this unified purpose to the polarization, the challenge to bring that consciousness down into the physical container, to earth it, Lunar. Number 3, you now have consciousness that's been attracted, that's inside a physical container, like water in a bottle, and then it begins to move, energy in motion, emotion, electricity, spark. It's called electric. So that's how you create electricity, right? You attract energy, you earth it, and it creates spark. Yeah, so that's the activation. And then number 4, now you've got spark and movement, the mind can finally come in to define the movement. Okay, so those are the first 4 tracks we're going to go through by looking at these universal truths that relate to abundance. Yeah? So first of all, become a magnet for abundance. Okay, whatever that means. It's the blue night is the dreams. It's what's lying in the unconscious. So it's an internal journey into one's dream time, into one's unconscious. You can, if you have any relationship with astrology, it's Neptune, perhaps, going into the sea, the ocean of collective unconscious dreaming. And that's pretty much going into our earth and receiving her abundance. We live on an abundant planet, believe it or not. There's enough here for everybody if we share it. Number 2, so that deep roots, going into those deep roots, that deep unconscious, what we find there is the seeds. This is called a seed. So a seed, what is the abundance of our planet? It's the physical seeds. So all of the vegetation that exists on our planet is the abundance of our planet. What do we need to live? Okay, so that's the abundance. The food, the gardens, but the seed is not, the seed is just a seed. It's not the forest, yeah? It's the seed that is focused 100% of its energy on heading towards the potential that it can become. Yeah? So it's about gaining a focus, gaining a physical focus on what it is that you're going for. Yeah? So getting focused, setting an intention to grow something in the future. And what does that do? That activates an emotional response, a spark of life force, serpent, life force. And it's growing a sensitivity to the life force What is the life force of that what you're aiming for in the future? Tuning in, getting sensitive to the life force of that you want to create. Say it's a car. Yeah? You tune in to what is the vitality life force of that metal thing. What consciousness, what is alive in that? Is it because you want to go fast through the mountains and you want to have that feeling of aliveness that rides an edge? It's like you're developing a spark of feeling into that you want to create. Yeah? Then number 4, to define that, is to surrender the mind to and it's called World Bridger here. So, and it's about surrender and it's about death. So it's about letting go. It's about having an open mind that is open for the opportunities from different worlds, not just, I don't know if any of you guys work with access consciousness. So they're in the far corner on the first floor down, far corner, right in that corner. But the premise that they teach is that if we expect something to come that we want, but we only allow it to come in this small channel, like, okay, I'm going to save all my money, and then it's not about, we're saving that money because we have an idea about how something's going to come to us. Whereas if we open that up, surrender our minds, open to the opportunities for whatever it is that we're putting out to the universe to come in billions of different ways, then consciousness itself will want to deliver whatever there is in myriad different ways that we even have no idea about. But if we only have this one channel that we think it's going to come down, that's a big task for consciousness to make it exactly like that, and it's going to take a lot longer. Whereas if we open our minds to the myriad different ways that can come to us and be open for the opportunities for that to be given to us, then it's a much more intelligent way to work, don't you think? Yeah. So let me just get my computer, my real computer out. Okay, and what it also says is it's number 4, World Bridger, guided by the wind, which is to communicate. To communicate to many worlds, to many peoples, what that is that you are attracting to yourself. Yeah, without attachment. It's like, I'm going for this, da-da-da-da-da, and God knows how it's going to come to me. But I'm bringing it in. I'm attracting it in. Yeah? So that's what this is saying. This is the way. Then comes the place of, so spiritual, physical, emotional, mental. We've got it defined. Now we go to spiritual again. So what happens here? We attract, magnetize, we earth, we activate, we define, and then this thing begins to radiate from us. And it's the word mana in the Maori language, to radiate, to radiate, to empower, to take command, to come into our power, to come into the power. So the power of abundance, it's saying, is blue hand. And blue hand is healing. It's knowledge. It's accomplishment. So it's the power of, and it's guided by the eagle. So how do we work that coding? And I'll give you guys the words, and then you can formulate and see what you receive around that. So the power of abundance is the blue hand, which is about healing, accomplishment, the 3 words, healing, accomplishment, and knowledge. Working on the spiritual plane, guided by the eagle, which is creative vision and mind. So the creative ideas, the power of far-seeing ego ideas that bring accomplishment, that bring healing. So to me it talks a little bit about going, because we're in this unconscious realm as well, right? So going in there and seeing what needs healing within us around our worthiness. Do I deserve? So it's the power of healing that when we go into whatever we've had buried in the unconscious that we haven't wanted to deal with, to actually go in there and have a look and see what needs healing that would get in the way of our receiving. Yeah? And it's the power of that. Does it make sense so far? Yeah? Okay, so then we come to number 6, which is on the physical plane again. And it's about, so now we've come into our power, the power to be willing to see what needs healing, to see what we need to accomplish in order to attract whatever it is that this abundance. Yeah? And so now to find balance, the star. And the star, I mean, what I naturally get with that is then I want to go for a walk in nature. I want to then go into, be surrounded by harmony and beauty. The words that go with the star is harmony, elegance, art, creativity. So it's the natural, the earthy, finding balance in our physical body, finding that healing through going for a walk in nature where there's nothing that has an idea about me. So I can drop all ideas about me. And I can just go and I can just be in the wonder of the beauty of that incredible abundance that our Mother Earth gives to us. I can just be on my own or be there in nature and receive the beauty that is naturally ours, given from our Mother Earth. Yeah? And there's a very healing thing, and it brings us into balance in our physical body. Now we've found balance through just natural beauty. We can now get inspired from that. So this is the sense plane. So the inspiration of what it is to go with the flow. This is the water. This is hypersensitive. The red moon. It's about purity, flow, The number 7 is about attuning our senses and responding to whatever comes to us. It's about purification of our senses, so that we can flow with whatever the universe is conspiring, of course, to give to us. Yeah. So we develop a pure sense within our sense plane, to be very sensitive to what is being sparked, to what is being birthed. Okay. This is a step-by-step guide. Yeah. It's pretty interesting because it's very different, possibly, but it's very under the magnifying glass. So we get very sensitive at that point, and we become a tuning fork for whether it be that fast sports car that we can drive through the mountains. So we get very sensitive to that. Whether it be abundance for all beings, whether it be creating an organization that will feed the poor in Africa, whatever it be. It really doesn't matter. It can be a fast-speeding car or it can be an organization feeding people in Africa. It doesn't matter. It's an experiment. We take our moral judgments out of it because each of us is our own being and with our own missions. So the tuning fork, this then becomes integrated in the mind through having a very open mind that's able to attune and become one with other people's minds, where there's no boundaries. It's called galactic dog, and it means that we will, when it's isolated, it means that we will be able to become one with another mind, another person's mind, and see where fear lies. To open our mind to our own fear, what we don't like about ourselves. Galactic dog. Very interesting energy. I gotta just see its deeper energy. This is an experiment I'm on here. Thanks for being on the experiment with me, guys. I'm just experimenting. This is what I do every day. I experiment with the codes just to understand the laws of nature. And every day, those laws will come through in a different way with different revelations. So this is the exploration, thanks for being with me, of abundance. So yeah, it's like the receptive mind that is receptive to love, to compassion, to those beings that love us, that have compassion for us, that we have compassion for. So thank you for being compassionate and joining with my mind today.